Hello and welcome to the Talking Wednesday podcast. I hope everyone is well and you find this episode well. Here today it is me and Jack. Jack looks a little bit worse to wear today.
Because thanks. How
Jack,
nice of you to say, Jake.
Well, mainly because Jack had a birthday on Friday.
Yes.
Many happy returns.
Thank you.
And of course, as you do when you're at a young age and you want to go out, he went out Saturday and had a good time. But it looks like he's paying for it a little bit for today. Apart from that, how are you? How's your week been?
Oh, it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. I in fact, you may have noticed. I'm sorry. You can tell that I'm being affected through external factors here of the booze from last night. Given that I can't formulate sentences properly today. It is horrendous.
2 weeks in a row on this podcast.
Yes. Oh, man. So, the reason why the Twitter was not the same yesterday is because I was having a day off for celebrating birthday things. And I actually was in attendance at a non-league game yesterday afternoon with my friends. Long Eaton United, and they beat Lincoln United 2-1, so that was good. And
I didn't even know there was a Lincoln United.
Yes, there is in step 6 of the FA structure or whatever. And fun fact, former Sheffield Wednesday Academy player from a couple of years ago, Luke Cox, is one of their centre halves at Long Eaton United. So that's yes, that's a little Wednesday thing in there. And then I basically after that went to like a social event that my cricket club held, and it was like a pool night, and I was horrendous at the beginning, and then I suddenly out of nowhere turned the gears on and actually ended up playing people off the table or whatever you'd call it.
Yeah, table. So you're table, right for that.
Yeah, having basically never played pool before in my life, only a handful of times. So that was fun. How about you, mate? How was your week?
It's been good. It's been busy on the channel. Made a lot of videos this week. It's just like my brain gone like to get videos made. It's been good. I've been figuring out some things for later in the year, i.e. to do with my house and my health. I've got appointment coming up very shortly with my consultant, which I'm kind of bricking it a little bit. Whenever I get an appointment from my consultant, it's just that whole having to get your mental headspace right to that position and what the new bit of way they're going to go forward with it. It's not been fun in that sense. I did get a new phone. I got myself a new upgrade, so that's nice. It's nice to get that sorted. And hopefully next month or April, I will be upgrading my microphone, and that'll be even nicer because then. Yeah, I'm in that point of the the channel, B life, where I'm just wanting to get things upgraded and start getting things done early before summer hits. Because when summer hits, I ain't gonna have a cat in hell chance of getting anything done. So it's one of those ones. But apart from that, everything's good.
Nice.
But if you are new here, or if you're somebody who keeps watching, memberships are available. There are membership video out at the moment. There'll be one this month from me. The Discord is also available. Just email talkingwednesday@gmail.com, and please go see all our socials. And reviews on the podcast will be very much helped. It helps the algorithm. It helps bump us up the charts, and that's what we want. We want to go further up those charts. Like Wednesday are going further up in the league. And yeah, let's talk about this week's matches then, because we had 2 matches this week. And do you want to start with the Morecambe game? How do you think it went?
I thought it was a very professional victory. Really, very. It's strange, right? Because it was a 3-0 win, and this isn't in any way a Mona's perspective or anything like that, but. It seemed like the team didn't ever really get out of first gear, almost. It was sort of like, it wasn't like yes, it was 3-0, over the moon about that and everything. Goal difference did the world of good for that, but it wasn't like an absolute edge of your seat affair. It was just a very professionally done. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? It was like
one of those games where They knew what the task was to do, but they didn't really need to get out of first gear to get going.
And that sounds really arrogant, by the way, and I'm very sorry to say that, oh, we didn't even get out of first gear. But no, it was sort of like it wasn't that the team looked switched off, anything like that. It was just like they were all very relaxed, and they didn't seem remotely stressed. The Morecambe players seemed absolutely terrified as soon as multiple of our players got the ball. They just didn't know what to do. Liam Shaw, ironically for them, looked probably the most capable on the pitch, I thought.
Yeah, he did.
And I think it's, grass isn't always greener, because sometimes you end up in a little shrimp farming community and not a Scottish giant. So
I will say, though, when you look at the first minute of that game, we started really bad.
Yes, we did.
Barry Bannon gets the goal. Joe Byers found him. Great little goal. He got to do celebration that he's been wanting to do for ages, considering Mrs. is pregnant at the minute. And then Marvin Johnson, we'll talk about him later. Yes. Excellent crossing for Smith. It still felt like it was Smith's goal, but I think Windass just got it right at the end. And then you look at what happened in that second half, though, because we all got a little bit worried because Byers went down injured. We're knocking like not again. Luckily, it was just a dead leg, and you're just thinking, can we just keep this going? And then Deli Bashiru came on, and he looked okay, but there were signs where he's like, keep it a little bit better. You made a tweet about him not being that great.
Oh no, it wasn't a tweet. It was in the Dexterity Box Discord.
Yeah,
and I said, oh well, Fizz again isn't really looking all that interested. Isn't seeming energetic, anything like that. And about 5 minutes after I made this statement, he goes on this bull rush straight down the left hand side, does this great whipped cross in, and we score the third goal. And I just thought, oh, wonderful, of course.
The best thing about that, it was 30 odd passes before that actually went in. And it was an interesting one, that one, because 30 odd passes, you're thinking, okay, that's quite a bit. It's not something you're expecting. And it's something we've not done ourselves in a while, that kind of flowing football, just had the ball, let the team try and take it. But it was one of those games where you were looking at it and thinking, like you said, it was just a well done performance.
Yeah. It was, in fact, it almost reminded me a little bit of, this is going to be a wild statement, but Barcelona a few years ago, in the fact of the tactics almost seemed keep passing it around to each other at the back, in midfield, whatever, just to kind of almost, in a sense, bore them to sleep. And then once they're all just kind of lethargic,
I kind of do.
Then
get
you
that.
Strike. I guess that's how it felt to me. Was the approach.
I kind of get that.
And again, sometimes you do have to maybe even make that approach when you're entering a game.
So
like
there were also matches as well during our game as well. So Exeter 0, Shrewsbury Town 0, Fleetwood 1, Peterborough 0, and also Cod Vlogs, Ben Nappers, he's now back at home, he's out of hospital. Did a video yesterday, good to see him back.
Yeah, really good to see you back,
you'll be back on the terraces very soon, I can assure you, but take your time with your recovery.
Please be well, mate.
Portsmouth 1, Burton 0. Forest Green 0, Charlton 1. Cambridge 1, Cheltenham 2. We won 3-0. Bolton 5, MK Dons 0. Bolton were just doing really, really well recently, and it's scary how good they're getting a little bit. They're really in that form that there at the minute, isn't it? Wickham 2, Atkinson Stanley 0. 0-0 Ipswich, Bristol Rovers, so that helped us. Barnsley 3, Port Vale 1. Derby County, Lincoln City 1-1, a red card in that for Lincoln. And Plymouth Argyle 3, Oxford 1, and that was 1-1 at one point. You were like, right, you can do this, carry on, and they just couldn't, sadly. And it was a pain in the backside.
It's getting so frustrating where we think, yes, finally, another win. I mean, it has happened now, granted, with the win.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes. against MK, but it's been so frustrating this whole season where we think, oh yes, great, another win, great, we're on it, we're there, we're at the top of the league, and then suddenly Plymouth get the same result again, another win, and they hop above us again, and we have to keep being in second, and it's this constant little leapfrogging going on, and I hate it. Just
it's the game in hand that's helping us, to be fair. Absolutely. If you actually think about it, the game in hand that's going to help us eventually.
Although arguably everything is a must-win game really now.
Yeah.
Because I want it to just be like without a doubt, not going down to the final games or whatever, and there's like a point in it between the first and second place at the end. I'd want one to be a clearly defined winner of the league rather than like they won the league by a point or by 2 points or whatever. You know what I mean? I'd want it to be convincing, I guess. But yeah.
So let's get on to the game on Saturday. So we start the game poor, really poor. They get the early goal like 2 minutes in, and it's just really bad by Wednesday. Just no one really closing down. Bad by Iorfa, hits it. It's a cracking shot, let's be honest. And it beat Dawson all ends up. You're like, this isn't going to be our day here, is it? You're thinking, great, this is not going to help us at all. But then
he couldn't really do anything about it.
No, he couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that whole thing, like a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people at the game were kind of turning around and going, oh, typical, we get our clean sheet record and then we blow it now, kind of thing. But I think it's sometimes you can get just caught off hand. Yeah. But James, with an absolutely lovely ball to Josh Windass, who dinks it over the keeper, and he celebrated.
He did. He actually celebrated.
Yeah,
he did this weird little like wobbly leg thing, whatever that's supposed to mean. I mean, I'm sure at some point that might be addressed about what the heck that even means.
Hey, he celebrated.
He actually celebrated. And he said he wasn't going to do that in this league, but he did.
Yeah. And you're thinking, right, we're back in this now. Let's compose ourselves. And we started to try and get on the ball a little bit more, getting crosses. But then again, loop ball again. It's another loop ball. Iorfa again at fault. He was really bad with the ball. Loop ball, loses it, and then they go and make it 2-1 on the 24th minute, latching onto a loop ball and getting into the area. And it's just like one of the things. These kind of goals that we scored a lot at times. Yeah. Where we've just been a bit sloppy. And it was, granted, it was a lot earlier on in the season where we were playing out from the back, but it was like, right, what are we going to do here? And apparently Downmore didn't do the right act at half time. He didn't have to throw teacups. He just was calm, cool, collected, said, just go out there and change it. Because we were actually really into the game in the second half. We were trying. We just weren't clinical enough. We get a penalty after handball from a long throw. And
it was a blatant handball. Oh, yeah, it was so clear. Yeah.
Smith, with an absolute rocket of the penalty, hit it really well. And you're like, right, we're back into this now. Let's go do this. Let's try and get the next goal. And we do. We bring on Adeniran, who makes an absolute great start to this coming on. Really good crossing. It comes in for Smith. Smith tries to head it. Doesn't quite get it. Johnson gets it at the back stick. And again, Mr. Gregory pops up right at the very back, in the middle even, to make it 3-2. And it's really good to see him on the score sheet. And as Stockdale says, he scores goals. If you hear this, he scores goals. With the interview he was doing with Joe Cran, Gregory, Mr. Stockdale would come behind and goes, he scores goals.
It was so funny.
It was. But it was really nice to see Gregory on the score sheet because he's been lacking that. And I think getting this one might push him on a little bit because he's not had a great season. It's been stop-start, injury, illness. I've never known a squad get as ill as we've been this season. Because it's normal. I can understand the injury because we're used to that. But illnesses have been a big thing for us this year as well. Smith gets the fourth goal. It's a deflector shot. He's kind of really unlucky, the defender, but they all count. And Mick could have probably got a hat-trick. He did really, really well in that game. He looked really on it. And then Byers makes it 5. And it's just a very simple header in. Oh. It was a simple header, but it still needed a lot of technique to get it down.
It was what some might call vintage. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Kiss.
The thing is, when you look at the stat, 62% possession, 22 shots, 8 on target to their 6 and 2, 10 corners. And this was a team that didn't have Flynn or Femi in. They got left out. I saw a lot of people saying we should have played them, but by the sounds of it, they're going on the science. They said they need a bit of a rest. Femi not played many games this season, neither Flint. Do you want to run them into the ground? This is why we got players that are quite versatile who can play most positions. But the good news here, when we go on to the other results. So I've read those ones. Where's the other ones? Hang on. I need to find the result from yesterday.
Oh.
I got it. Fine. So it's Cheltenham 0, Barnsley 4, Lincoln City 0, Portsmouth 0. The big one for us, Plymouth Argyle 0, Fleetwood 0.
And finally.
When I looked at those stats, looking at Fleetwood, all I kept to say on Fleetwood was yellow card, yellow card, yellow card, yellow card. Mm-hmm. They had a game plan and they took to it.
Yes.
Accrington Stanley 1, Shrewsbury 0. That's a big result. Derby County 2, Charlton 0. Bristol Rovers 1, Burton 2. Good result for Burton that. Cambridge United 1, Oxford 0. Port Vale 1, Exeter City 0. Morecambe 0, Peterborough 3. Not a great week for Peterborough or MK Dons. They've had 6 past them and MK Dons has had 10. Poor teams. Ipswich 4, Forest Green 0. And the result of the day, for me really, was Wickham 1, Bolton 0. Now, interestingly, the Bolton manager said something last season, and it was, I think we're the best team in the league. And it really put them on a downward spiral after that. Now, he spoke again this week. This week he said something. I believe I will be a Premier League manager and Bolton will be Premier League again. I like the confidence.
I like the confidence.
I like the confidence, but this is the same kind of thing he said last time.
Yeah, and then they suddenly kind of cursed them a little bit, didn't it, last time?
Yeah, and he was kind of doing really well at keeping his mouth shut.
Yes.
Interesting fact, Ian Everett owns a part of Bolton.
Oh.
He's a minority shareholder, which is interesting, which I don't know how that works when coming and managing and getting sacked and that, if it ever happened. But yeah, it's an interesting one. So Sheffield Wednesday are top of the tree.
Yes,
last
we are.
68 points, 36 goal difference. That goal difference is just going up and up and up.
Great, isn't
we
it?
are...
Oh.
The nice thing about this game at the weekend was that we just put a very professional performance in. We don't look like a team when we go down that we're going to crumble and be like, right, what do? We look like it's a case of, right, this shouldn't be happening. Get back on it. Wake up. It's like last season, it was time where we were like, wake up, come on, we're better than this. There's a resilience in this team, which is interesting. It's nice to see. So it goes Sheffield Wednesday, top of the tree, 68 point, 36 goal difference. Plymouth, 25 goal difference, 68 points. Ipswich, 60 point, 29 goal difference. Bolton, 24 goal difference, 59. Derby County, 25, 57. Barnsley 18-56 and Wickham 15-53. You look at that playoff picture, you do not want to be in it.
Absolutely not. Not again. Not after last year, and especially not this time, considering that when that sodding documentary about Sunderland gets its new series, our heartbreak of those playoffs is going to be in it. And I don't want to have to relive it both in another playoff thing and then also have to relive that one on my frigging Netflix account, you know? It's
So if you want
automatically.
If you want forecast 4 points, so there's a Twitter account called PB point per game profit on Twitter. Really good. It's good to figure stuff out. And he got us down as it's 93 points to get promoted. And so far, we're on that up trajectory.
Nice.
And with the points that are being forecasted so far, based on current points and recent form, Sheffield Wednesday, 103 points. Plymouth Argyle, 96. Barnsley, 90. Derby, 87. Ipswich 84 and Bolton 83. So it could be interesting, and we're just on a really good run at the minute, and it's nice to being able to do different bits and pieces and see how we play. There's just a calmness about the group when things don't go right, and they just get back into it. So really good to see us doing well. So shall we go into the news?
Yes, let us go into the news.
So first bit of the news that ain't great, really. It's another injury, sadly. Malik Wilkes, Sheffield Wednesday data clarifies Eamon Mountain injury contest. It never rained, but it pours. Especially when it comes to Sheffield Wednesday and their treatment room. Just one player, Reece James, returned to the matchday squad after in-shape Derek Isle gets sidelined. He came back up well. He had a knock. Hard-time departure, George Bayev was a routine. It was just niggly knock with them. But Malik Wilkes is another who will be unavailable in the last few games. The former Hull City man is set to be out of contact against Morecambe and MK Dons. Also missed the Ipswich previous. When quizzed on it Tuesday night, it's his calf. We don't know, it could be a strain. We don't know if it's a pull. He seems upbeat and positive and reported that he didn't feel much effect in his body, and that's a positive sign. That's the reason he came out. It's a blow. It's the form he was showing. He was exciting, but he'll be assessed again. And it is a big blow. Let's just say what it is, because he was starting to look a lot better. We were starting to see this player that we've all seen on the YouTube clips running at players and making a lot of runs that we're not used to. What's your thoughts on this and how a bit of blow it is for him personally and us as a team?
I mean, overall, this injury crisis is happening yet again. And I personally feel like it might be a sports science issue, because they're obviously the ones in charge of keeping the players, healthy physically and whatever else, and managing all of that side of it. And I just feel like they need to be a bit more thorough in this approach, because these injuries just keep happening over and over again. And especially, and people obviously people seem to historically blame the training ground and whatever else, but when they're getting injured during matches that pretty much all of them have, it's not anything to do with that training ground. It is to do with how the players are being looked after, their dietary stuff, their exercise routines, all of that sort of thing. Notice how the guy that was doing 10K a day in preseason, Liam Palmer, has not been injured whatsoever this season. And I think that goes to show that maybe yes, touch wood. Touch every single superstition thing that you can think of, do it right now. But he's just been roaring on fitness the entire season so far, and I just think it's just a sports it seems so obvious to me now that it's like a sports science side of things, that they need to be more thorough and more on top of it, and not just sort of say, well, for example, right, when we had Tony Strudwick in the building as the head of sports science, the injuries disappeared. It was a blissful, injury-free couple of years under him. And even the most injured man in football, Sam Hutchinson, was staying fit when he was the head of sports science at that point. So they were obviously managing him very, very well. And I just feel like I don't want the standard to slip from that. Yes, sure, it's the one that Darren Moore knew from Doncaster, Rob Lee in the building. And I don't mean this in any way to be sounding like it's slating his approach or anything, but we need to keep hold of standards that we have had before. It doesn't matter if we're in League One or in the Championship or whatever. We need to be looking after these players in a more thorough capacity than we have been, because there's been injury after injury after injury. And all of that comes from the sports science side of things. And it's especially a blow when it's yet another option up front, because we're already threadbare up front as it is. And now another one's injured for however many games. And it's just what else can we do other than go into the under-21s now? Sure, it's a bit of a baptism by fire for some of those if they do get called up, but even so, it's not that I don't think that they're ready, because clearly Darren Moore has been, giving debuts to under-21 players, and they've been playing very well. Rio Shipston, for example. Perfect example of that.
Definitely.
And he's fit in, and he's not looked uncomfortable. The couple of guys that played in the Fleetwood away game for the FA Cup.
And
yes. Fuser. Yeah. They fit in very, very well. But we don't need to keep thinking, I guess, that is the way forwards. But then I can also see that because of historically players have just been getting released left, right, and centre when they've completed their under 20, what it used to be the under 23s step.
Academy.
And they just get and they just got released at the end of that and not actually, given a pathway into the first team. That may be also influencing a lot of people in saying they're not ready. Why are we relying on them when it actually could be very different now?
It's a catch-22 because
exactly.
Over the years we said we want to see more youth come out of that academy. We start getting youth from the academy into the first team playing games. It's now, why are they playing? Why didn't we get enough in January?
Yeah.
Why didn't we do this? And you're like, you can't have it both ways.
Exactly.
Like, at the end of it, he doesn't want to bring people in for the sake of people. Now, my thing with the sports science thing, it's a good thing, but I'm wondering if they spent most of the summer sorting out what was going on at the training ground, and maybe next season that'll be when we might be able to sort out the sports science bit. Who knows? Because a lot of the last season injuries was training ground stuff, and maybe they just, but let's sort that out and then we'll sort out the next bit on the next day. But it's a blow, but we got people who can come back, and like Gregory being back and that is helpful.
Absolutely.
And it's not the end of the world, but we would like to see it, because I thought Wilf was starting to come into a bit of form and looking good himself. So, Sheffield Wednesday are looking at a non-league play, really.
Oh.
This is from the start. Sheffield Wednesday are casting their eyes on Bright House Town youngster Sam Reed. Sheffield Wednesday are no stranger to bring trialist or two into their under-21 setup. Plenty of young talent have been watched by the club's academy coaches ahead of potential moves. With left back, interesting, the left back we're looking at, Reed among them. It would be interesting if this one paid out, because it was first reported toward the end of January about the 19-year-old with a move here. And what we're starting to do this a little bit more. If you actually look at Adatoma and the young lad Promise who we got, they're all from like these academies that are not either academies that are not really well known, or they're from non-league and they're coming into our squad. This is something the academy needed to do for a while. They've had to do this kind of thing of trying to lower down the leagues. I think you get better players that come out from lower leagues into academies than you do from a Premier League structure. I think there's just a part of them, because they're coming up from a lower league where the facilities ain't great for some of them, and our facilities are amazing. If you're getting a Premier League starlet coming down to us, they're going from really amazing academies to us.
Ultra luxurious academies, etc., to then the setup that it is at Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah. What do you think about this approach? Do you think this is the right way going forward?
See, it's actually an interesting one, because I would say that this would make them more first team ready than if we got, say, really talented Premier League academy players to join our academy, because they've effectively come from the non-league tiers where they've already had lumps kicked out of them left, right, and centre, because that's just how the football is there. It's brutal. I saw it yesterday. It's quite a watch, and it's quite a baptism into the world of football at that sort of level, and that would only mean that they are rough and ready to make the step up to the first team. Whereas you see now there's so many players in like Premier League academies that are playing the under 21s football and the under 18s football, and it's effectively
bring back the team football. I say
you can argue that it is the ideal quote unquote way of playing football, because nobody's getting rough tackles in anywhere. It's all very polite and dignified and honourable and lovely passing football and all this sort of thing. But there's no one kicking lumps out of each other in that sort of setting. It's all very,
playing against kids who are the same ages.
And they're playing against, people the same ages and not like veteran seasoned pros who know exactly when to have a shirt tug at the right time to not be seen by the ref and all that sort of stuff. But these non-league players who are the academy age sort of thing will know all of that already, and they'll be well prepared for it and know how to handle it, and therefore will be ready to make the step up when called upon. And I just think it's actually quite a good approach because it also strengthens the links between the professional football setup and grassroots level football. And I'm all for that. It needs far more attention and investment and everything the grassroots level does. And I think this does just that. And I just love that we're taking this approach now. I think it's a very sustainable approach.
It's a position we are lacking in, and if he does well, it's one that come through. You have noticed with Darren Moore, since he's been here, he's very much using academy or speaking to our academy managers and coaches to find out what's going on. I think he'd rather bring in a player from the academy than bring someone in sometimes and do it that way and then promote the youth. But I hope it continues. And we've seen it work very well for Brentford and Peterborough in the past. So let's see if we can start going on that model ourselves. So Joe Wildsmith is not a Sheffield Wednesday fan this season. Wonder why. Wildsmith came through the youth ranks at Hillsborough and went on to make 89 appearances for his boyhood club before leaving for Derby County when he contracted expired over the summer. The shopstopper said to December Live, it was a bit of surreal and felt weird, Wildsmith said of the 0-0 draw in December. I'm a Sheffield boy, I was a season ticket holder, but when you become a footballer, you move teams. It's not that affiliation is gone, but fans aspect does leave you a little bit. You're just focused on the team you're playing for. Look, I'm not a Sheffield Wednesday fan this season. That's clear to me. I don't need to tell anyone that. My focus is 100% with Derby County. It makes sense. I've seen this and people have kind of gone, oh, well, you are a Wednesday fan, but you're not this season because you're in the same league. You were going
Just to clarify, that's Derbyshire Live, not December Live.
Yeah, did I say December
You said December Live?
Yeah. Derbyshire Live. Well, it wouldn't be me if I didn't make a mistake.
Absolutely. It's a fresh of breath air to hear you say that, to hear a new statement come out of you, Jake. Anyway, sorry, derailing the whole frigging conversation right now. But
it makes sense. Yes. It does make sense. And it was interesting just hearing him say that because I think a lot of people forget of how long he was at the club and stuff. But good luck to him. But when we play you end of season, we might be already champions and up, or we might need it. But I hope you've got a little bit of your Wendy bias there when we play you.
And I would actually say as well, it does make sense that he's saying this, given how much the Derby County fans are just raving about him daily.
Love him, don't they?
They are in love with him. I was even speaking. A couple of my friends are Derby fans, that I saw yesterday, and they were just saying that they can't believe that they've got a keeper of his caliber in League One. They were raving about him to that level. And don't forget, Wildsmith was tipped to effectively be the Kieran Westwood replacement a couple of years ago. And it was only when Mr. Dutch Mustache Man came along and just decided, you know what? No, I prefer Cam Dawson. And then suddenly, Cam Dawson got all the spotlight.
Let's also remember he had a massive big injury as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he did. And
he had that big injury that caused him a little bit of problems. But
Darren Moore didn't even want him to leave. He wanted it to be Wildsmith and Dawson battling it out for the number one jersey. But because Wildsmith left and needed the fresh start, and fair play to him as well with the new family and all that sort of thing, that's why we got Stockdale in. And and I just think I'm just really happy to see that he's doing so well at Derby, because he really does deserve it. He does deserve his true break now, kind of thing. And the funniest thing is, right, my Derby fan friends were actually saying that Wildsmith wasn't even meant to be their number one. He was brought in as the sort of the backup, if you will, and he's performed that well that he's galvanized himself into the number one position. So that's interesting.
It's nice to see him finally getting that opportunity because it was always there. It just never happened at Wednesday.
It just never happened because of Kieran Westwood being in the net still, and when he was performing well, and then there was that whole, I think that relegation season where he was in the net a good few times. I don't know. I don't think his head was in it. I think none of the players' heads were in it that season. It was all, it was calamitous on the mental side of things that year. But moving on.
So I am going to talk about this story, but not in a massive way because I don't think there's going to be anything in it. But Callum Paterson, injury blow, should leave Sheffield Wednesday to pursue the 35-year-old free agent striker. Now, before you all think 35, that's very old, you're thinking, but I think Gregory is going to be about that. So they're on about the ex-Nottingham Forest striker Lewis Grabban, who had a short stint in Saudi Arabia's second tier, going once in 5 league outings, and he wants to come back. Gavin made the move to the Middle East during the summer months after the contract with Nottingham Forest at 5, following a 4-year stint at the City Ground, where he became fan favourite with goals and clear passion in the Tricky Trees shirt. I never heard it called the Tricky Trees shirt.
I've never. Yeah,
that's a new one. Okay. At age 35, though, kind of niggled. He got injury issues, right? He has had injury issues. At age 35, though, kind of start to creep in the older you get, but it will not have effect on Gavin's taste for goal in shape or form. Now, I do understand this one, right? And it will be a very good bench option. But from what I've heard from Nottingham Forest fans, he had a bit of an attitude. And he could disrupt a dressing room really quickly.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. I don't think it makes sense. I understand if you're looking for body, but if that was the case, he could have got someone in January, surely, who could have come in, do that job that you want, come on now and again. And I don't know. I understand the logic of going for someone like Gavin.
Yeah.
Grabban even, to get it right and have somebody on the bench just in case. But what do you think about this one? It's a non-start for me. I don't think it ever happening, but the idea and the premise, what do you think of it?
I mean, if his attitude's like that, then absolutely not. We do not want any sort of divas or whatever, however you describe it, in the dressing room whatsoever, because we had enough of that in the Championship and it got us relegated. And I do not want us to go back to that again because that was awful. But even then, I think on the pitch, I just think he's too lightweight. He just gets muscled off the ball far too easily. And that won't suit him very well in League One, where that's the primary approach of the defenders, is to muscle you off the ball.
He's a poacher.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we've already really got that option in Gregory. But then Gregory's a lot stronger, I think. Physically stronger. He can hold players off a lot more. And it just sort of screams of desperation if we go for him, I think, just to get...
Yeah, but what the other
this is the exact thing as well, where Darren Moore said he didn't want to do, is just get bodies in for the sake of it. He didn't want to do that, and I think he should stick to his guns and not... If this is even remotely a story...
I don't think he will. I think this was then someone going, this is who we should go for because you've got an injury crisis. If you had that situation, say we do have, with what's happened and all our injury stuff, put Delhi up front. He's strong, he's physical, he knocked players off the ball. He did it for a little spell at Man City. Why not?
Exactly.
Why not put him next to someone like Windass, who are both of them stupidly fast and with Delhi's strength? It makes sense. You've got another option there. It goes back to that, having a player who's versatile and can do what you want. Now, is there any free agents right now, if you were in Darren Moore's shoes, you would bring in if you wanted to? Is there any that you could see in your eyes?
There's a New Zealand guy, right? So this is really calling on my Football Manager knowledge right now. So there's a New Zealander called Ryan Thomas, who's quite a dynamic central midfielder. That I'd possibly bring in. He'd be very good. He'd effectively be very good at coming on off the bench and sort of fulfilling Josh Windass's role, so that Windass wasn't so strained all the time and had to make sure that he was playing all the time in that shadow striker sort of role. And I think that's possibly an area we need a bit more depth in. and I always forget his name, but he's a striker, and he used to play for Watford a couple of years ago, and he's only like 24, 25. He's not too old, but he hasn't had a club for quite a while, so that's what would put me off. And I'm just trying to, and it's so annoying. It's not. Oh, God, what's his name? Anyway, yes, there's a former Watford striker out there. If you know who I mean, put it in the comments. But yes, I don't, because I don't want to.
Do you know what season he got released?
It was like 2018 or so, I think 2019 maybe. But I don't want to obviously take up too much time and I was just pondering what the strike, who it is. Because
Ryan Thomas is 28.
Yes.
Central midfielder, can play right or left wing. And he left PEZ Zool, I think. He was also at PSV. I know. Oh, actually, I think he's actually just joined PEZ Zool, so he's off the market.
He's off the market. Never mind.
Yeah. But one that we could go for. What the one that I'm going to talk about possibly that we could go for in the summer is Aidan Flint. Is a free agent. In the summer. Darren Moore reveals on potential Sheffield Wednesday swoop for Stoke City, soon to be free agent Aidan Flint.
Why do they always have to use swoop? Why?
Yeah.
Like, why? Just say they've got an interest in going for him, Yeah. Stop saying swoop. I get it with the owls. Ha 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 ha. Hilarious. But please, stop saying swoop. It's so cringy now because everybody does it all the time. Oh, God. Anyway, sorry, as you were saying, Jake.
The 33-year-old has spoken his desired open mindset over making his loan move a permanent after he moved from the Championship side. Stoke City turned sour in the weeks after free signing in the summer, when they were able to grab him on loan until the end of the season. Whether Flint is a player he'd like to see on ethics, Al Darmo said, I think he'd be essential since he'd come in and he's shown a level of experience, maturity, focus, precise in the team play. But eventually what he brought to us is phenomenal in terms of being a central figure in the defensive line and contributing to the game, bring solidarity to us, and he'd been excellent. Now, this is one of those ones where you're looking at this and you're going, right, he's a free agent, he's already doing well now. Sit down with his agent, hammer out a deal, done.
Get him on a pre-contract.
Get him on a pre-contract. You've got someone... Now, the only issue I've got here, yes, it's saying getting him on a pre-contract and stuff like that. The only issue here is that you'll have some players who are like already saying, where's my contract? Because I'm out of contract. What's going on here? Which I think you could see it being when they're talking to the player when we know it's like officially we're up. Or it's mathematically certain we're up. That's it. Let's go for it. Here's your contract. Because you got to remember, if we're not in a playoff situation, we get a good run of week where we can get it all done before they all go. Not having them all go, oh, we'll wait until we get back to sort your contract. Just get it all done so everyone knows what they're doing. And Flint is a championship player. Let's just call it what it is. He's a championship player. It is what it is. He was quality when we last time when he was in the championship. He just brings that level of maturity and experience at the back. His starting for me is I kind of had this thing where you remember when Louvens and Lee used to play together? Yeah. Louvens used to be the player that was make Lee a better player and make him solid. I'm starting to think that whoever's next to Iorfa makes Iorfa solid, but when that player's not next to Iorfa struggles. Yeah. I think Iorfa needs that kind of quality player next to him, that leadership just to help. Because if you actually look at our back line, it's huge. It is massive. We have some very big players in our squad. Something we didn't have last season. The one thing that annoys me with that, why are we not going enough on corners for one? But Aidan Flint makes a lot of sense. I think he's only 33. I don't think he's that old.
Oh, no, he's only 33.
He feels like he's been around forever. And it probably could. But again, Aidan Flint is someone who come from non-league. Picton, Alfreton Town, Matlock Town. Then he went to Swindon. Then he went back on Alfreton Town on loan. And then he went to Bristol City, Middlesbrough, Cardiff. He's another one of these players who's not come through an academy. He come through the Central Midland Football League and come up. And I think you see these players who come up through the ranks like that a lot better.
Yeah.
Look at Gregory. Gregory is a very late bloomer when it comes to football. He would play non-league and he got picked up at like 25.
Oh.
That's why he's desperate to like get a contract.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Lee Gregory used to be a Sparky.
Oh.
And he got that look of a Sparky.
Yeah.
I can see him like knocking on your door going, hey, love, I'm here to do your your ECR stuff and do a rewire. Just show me where it is. Can I have a cup of tea? 2 sugar, please. Yeah. He got that look.
He's got that attitude and the look. Yeah.
But I think it would be smart. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I do think that he'd fulfill that, like, almost the anchorman defender that sort of just deals no nonsense. And I mean, he heads the ball virtually the full length of the pitch. It's ridiculous. We need a player like that.
He did head the ball the full length of the pitch.
Pardon?
He did head the ball the full length of the pitch.
He did. Yeah. We need somebody like that. And everyone like,
how did he do that?
Because that man has got some traps on him. Oh my God, the neck. Oh, but yes, we...
Okay, worker, stop having Aidan Flint as your gym person.
Honestly, though, just aside from that, just a random insert is that to have that man as a gym inspiration is not a bad thing because the man's built. But
yeah, but it's like when he did the shirt reveal and they showed him, they just showed his arms.
And his arms are just.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I had arms like that. Jesus.
It's the kind of player we've lacked at the back for a while.
Yeah.
I think some of our defenders have been really good technical defenders, but not defensively strong.
He's effectively filling the role that Big Ben has left.
Yeah.
Since he's been injured. But I really hope that he can come back soon.
And a lot of people have forgot about him a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it has... When it first happened, we were like, oh no, we're screwed, we're done, kind of thing. But we've not missed him that much. I know that sounds really arrogant.
We've sort of also not missed him that much given the decision, given how Darren Moore has acted swiftly in getting a replacement in, yada yada. So it's not.
But again, you look at McGuinness. McGuinness was the replacement for Femuo. Femuo looks like an absolute beast.
Yep.
Of a player. He's really good.
And he's only going to get better too, so that's even better.
Yeah, he's young. We brought the age of the squad down a little bit.
Younger than me. He's 2 years younger than me. There's people younger than me in the Wednesday side now, and I feel old. I don't like it.
Yeah, one birthday, now he knows how me and Deck feel.
Oh.
So, interesting one here, and this is about ex-players. So, Sheffield Wednesday got the decision to release Hutchinson and Massimo Luongo 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the past, we would have kept the player because we needed that kind of player or kept them for sentimental value. Hutchinson has really not managed to get into this Reading team. He had that really good spell during pre-season and they were like, he's amazing, he's great, but he just keeps getting knock after knock after knock. He's currently got an Achilles injury, which is something we know he had at our place a lot.
Yeah.
He did get it a lot. Didn't get it a lot when he was at us. He kind of managed it. But again, it might be a case of sports science or them trying to get too many players in. And these games are the ones, especially in the Championship, these games come thick and fast. But you look at how he was for us, and there have been times where they looked really good. But he keeps not being able to get into the team because of his injury record. Now, the interesting one is also Massimo Luongo. He went to Middlesbrough, didn't play. Didn't play at all. And just remember, Mass was a weird one because we had that whole Twitter thing. He didn't know he got released.
Mm-hmm.
He was really confused. He's like, okay, have I then? Kind of had a bit of it left a sour taste in his mouth by the sounds of it. Didn't play at Middlesbrough. Gone to Ipswich during the January transfer window as a free agent. And a lot of them have gone, he's MIA. He just not turned up there either. Like, Massimo Luongo played 12 minutes of senior football this season. 12 minutes.
12?
That is it. Yeah.
Wow.
That is it. And it's like, we in the past have been really bad at keeping players for the sake of keeping players because either they're a bit of club legend or the fan favourites kind of thing and not moving them on. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, right, hot take right now. We kept Tom Lees a lot longer than we should have done.
Oh, God, yeah.
I actually don't think that Tom Lees was, quote unquote, the best defender in the league outside of the Premier League, like Carlos said back in the day. I think we needed someone much better. And honestly, don't forget, he was released from Leeds, and all of the Leeds fans at the time when we signed him said that he's dreadful and he's not very good at all. And I honestly think that he was being carried by, and again, Louvens at times was great, but a lot of the time as well, not that good. Sasso, I think we should have signed him for a lot longer than we did. God, he was someone we should have had because he was excellent on the ball and he was tough as a central defender. And I just sort of think we've had these, even Louvens himself, when he went to Sunderland, he gave actually his verdict on the Sheffield Wednesday squad. And he said, yes, there's a lot of players there that I think they've kept hold of for a bit too long. Yeah. And at least now we seem to not be doing that. We seem to actually
one of the ones I think was a player we kept on too long, and this is going to be controversial. I think we kept Westwood too long. He started to pick up little niggles and stuff. We could have promoted a keeper a bit earlier, but at the time we were in a position where we couldn't afford really to have that kind of experience lead the squad. Like you look at it now, you got that experience with Stockdale. He's the person who's going to be there, know what to say to him. But we didn't have that person behind the scenes who could say that. Yeah. You just had Dawson, Wildsmith.
And again,
Westwood.
I think another one we kept on too long was Forestieri. I think we should have cashed in on him when
we should have cashed in when that money came in
for him from massive bid from Newcastle came in. It was like 15 million or something. We should have been like, yes. Okay.
But you look at that. There's a lot of people we should have cast in on. Yeah. A lot of the time, you should have cast on Westwood. Yeah. You could have done the team. It's one of these things where
it's all good in hindsight, of course. But
if you're looking at right now, I know there'll be some people who will turn around and say, Barry Bannon's now that sentimental player.
Well, no, I don't think he is, because he still offers a lot in leadership, everything, and he's still ridiculously good for this league. And I don't know why people would be saying that, I guess.
There's a lot of people who think we're a better team without Barry Bannon in the squad. We know this, we've seen this. And the thing is, Barry Bannon is getting to that age. I'm hoping he's hit that clause in his contract soon. He got to have done.
I'm sure he has. Yeah.
Barry Bannon is one of the players who he come here, and some people will say it's sentimentality, but I think he's done really well. In the current squad, who is there who you think could be that player where you think it might be time to let him go even though he's been really good for us? Or who we could cash in on and make a bit of money on?
I don't think we should get Reece James permanently. Lots of people think we should. I think he's one of these players who's like too good for League One, but can't quite cut it properly in the Championship. And a lot of people have said that. What are you saying?
He's Rotherham?
Aside from... Looks like it's not just me winding up other fan bases this week. Oh my God. But yeah, I don't know. It's a very good question. To be honest, I would possibly say it about a lot. I just sounded really like Bristolian then.
You did go a bit.
Yeah, I did. Oh my, this hangover, guys. It's no joke. It's sending me all over the place. I'd probably say that we need an overhaul in the summer if we go up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I'd probably say be as ruthless as we can be with almost every player and keep the handful that have looked way too good for the league. George Byers, prime example. Dear God, he needs a long-term contract, that man, because he's going places with us. But wholesale stripping down of the
Jack
thing.
Hunt, the one.
Jack Hunt, maybe even Iorfa.
Yeah, I can see
that. Maybe he might need a fresh start. I would put him in a category of player that needs a fresh start somewhere else.
If you're looking at players who could possibly lead the squad in...
and once again, just this is no personal attack on any of the players or anything. This is just a fan speculation, whatever.
Jaden Brown, God.
Yes. Yes. He's been a passenger.
He's just not worked.
He's just been...
not worked.
Where is he? Why is he not getting into the team? He was supposed to be. He was supposed to be the first choice blooming left back when we signed him. He never really got better since that game where he scored the own goal. It's like it played on him. It's just totally like shattered his confidence for a good long time.
Jaden Brown, Jack Hunt, and maybe Iorfa out the back, because that will then leave you with Palmer.
Do not get rid of Liam Palmer. Liam Palmer needs to... He's like... I honestly think he's a top-end championship defender.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And I don't know why people attack people for saying that sort of thing. Because he is. He's proving it. He's way too good for this league, but he's here with us because he loves the club. It's his... he's Mr. Sheffield Wednesday.
So Brown, Iorfa, Hunt, that would leave you with Palmer, Hennigan, Femiwo, Owikwe, and Brennan, and Galvin, and who's the other one on loan? Galvin, Brennan, three. The three?
No, I think it's just...
Jackson, the keeper.
Oh, Jackson, yes.
That's why.
Yes.
So if you're going through midfield, you're keeping Will Vokes, you're keeping Barry Bannon, you're keeping Byers. You want to keep Delhi. That's all up in the air.
Yeah, I'd want to keep Adeniran, actually. I've done it. It was weird. At the start of the season, I was thinking, should we sell him on?
Look good.
But then this season overall, I feel he's turned it round, especially since Christmas.
He just needs the injury.
Yeah, exactly.
Backinson, you've got Shifted in that, and you've also got Durant, two players from the academy who could do well. I think the person who probably let go is Johnson.
Yeah. Yes, I'm inclined to agree with that.
I personally wouldn't mind seeing Backinson go because I ain't seen much of him, but it all depends. It could be he needs a season to settle and then get into it. We've had it before.
He's too lightweight when he's on the ball, and he just keeps getting dispossessed by being bodied or something. And he seems a bit too slow. He's not dynamic enough. I feel. Yeah. And
he'd been pulled off the pitch a couple of times by Darren Moore, and Darren Moore, when you looked at him, looked fuming. Now the forward line, the interesting one, because I don't think you get rid of any of them. Gregory, Windass, Wilt, Patterson, Smith.
Possibly Gregory, in my opinion, if we go up.
Yeah, but he got that now that he knows the championship.
Yeah, but still, I don't know how well he'd do in the championship now. I think this is it again. Sentimentality. I feel like because he's a Sheffield lad, there's a lot of sentimentality around keeping him around. You do realise if
he did go, you know where he'd be going, don't you?
Probably Derby. I would imagine.
If they go up, that will be interesting. It's
just a difficult one.
I'd be interested to see how Michael Smith would do in Championship.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think he'd do all right. I think he'd definitely do all right, I would say. And he only came to Wednesday because of the issues behind the scenes at Rotherham.
Yeah.
And stuff. And he's gone on record saying that, I'm pretty sure. When
Paul Wall gone on record of turning around and saying that he sent him a text message before the Derby game saying good luck. He said, I know, I will. Kind of thing. They did that relationship. But it is interesting. The forward line, ironically, the only one that we can't really agree on to a point. Because we both got the time thing. But it's interesting seeing what we've actually got and what we keep up, what we do. Like, even if you go with goalkeeper, Dawson, Stockdale, Charles, you're keeping Stockdale.
I'd say, I mean, we don't know what his situation is in terms of a retirement thing. I feel awful saying that as well because he's such a good bloke. But in terms of his like age and stuff, I want him as a coach. I'd 100% want him as a coach because I feel like
you want him. He's doing it already.
Oh well, but not in an official capacity right now. So
You want to know what his senior career is?
what?
It's insane. So Stockdale's 37. It'll be 38 if we go up in September, right?
He's 37?
He's 37.
He's how old?
37.
Oh, my word.
So youth career with Huddersfield Town, York City. Another lad who come through lower leagues, right? York City, Wakefield Emery, Worksop Town, Darlington, Fulham, Rotherham, Leicester, Plymouth, Ipswich, Hull, Brighton, Birmingham,
And we remember him at
Southend,
Brighton
Wickham.
because he's the one that Ross Wallace scored the screamer against, isn't he?
Yep. Coventry, Wickham, Stevenage, Wendy.
That's quite a mixed bag, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a whole mixed bag of teams. That is crikey. But yeah, it is a very weird one because you almost don't want to voice these opinions and be upsetting by saying we think this player or that player should go, because they very clearly all passionately want this club to do well, and you almost feel a bit. I don't know if this is making sense to you at all, but you've also got to be cutthroat and ruthless if you want to get anywhere, I suppose.
So here's an interesting fact for you about Stockdale. Well, Stockdale married his fiancée Kate on the 3rd of June 2011, missing out on a plane play to the England squad in the Euro 2012 qualifier with Switzerland the following day.
Oh my word.
But yeah, shall we? Well, let's talk about our next match then.
Yes.
Because we have a week off, which is what the squad desperately needs. It just needs a week of training to try and get some body back, to try and implement something, because I believe it's March. I want to say we got the games that are coming thick and fast.
Right.
Have a look. Yeah, it's back end of, well, I think, yeah, it's March. It's the back end of March, really. But it's the games we got to play in hand. Like your Barnsley and your Cheltenham. Cheltenham got called off for fraud. Barnsley got called off because we were in the cup. So, we are playing Charlton Athletic away. Their record is 10-11, 40 points, 1.29 per game. They are 11th in League One. I don't know if I've read third tier. Home record is 6-5-5, 23 points. Away record is 4-5-6, 17 points. 45 goals, that's 1.45 per game. Goals against 43, 1.39 per game. Their goal difference is 2. They lost 2-0 to Derby. And interestingly, Hector had a mare in that game.
Oh.
He gave the penalty away with that. He just wasn't great. So it'll be interesting to see how we do against this. This is a good chance for us to get much needed away points, because we can keep putting on the pressure at the top, because I believe Plymouth have got Peterborough away. If we win at Charlton and they lose, that will give us a healthy little lead. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But have you got anything else left to say, Mr. Dying out of... Yeah.
Mr. Unaliving, due to personal misjudgment of how much I should have consumed last night. I don't know. It's nice. It feels really nice that we're now like pulling away. It's starting to feel more and more at the moment. And yes, it's only, February, but it's starting to feel more and more at the moment like it's just a competition of us and Plymouth to see who's going to win the league now. Yeah. It feels, because of the gap being as big as it is and not seemingly closing.
I'd like the middle of April for it to be wrapped.
Yeah.
But us not take the foot off the pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Foot off the pressure,
and
foot off the pedal.
Foot off the gas, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then it's effectively like who's going to finish in the playoffs versus at the top, it's who's going to win the league between us and Plymouth. And
there's part of me that will love
it's
it.
Really nice. It's just really nice to be
me, if you look at the table, right?
Yeah.
The part of me where Derby are, like Derby have a wobble or something, and they have to be like where,
they've done it in the Championship plenty of times.
Where Wickham are, like 7th, and they like need a point or win on the last game of the season versus us, and they don't get it, and we do what they did to us in the Championship. It would just be nice. It'd be nice.
It's so petty. It's so petty that it's wonderful because
it would be nice, wouldn't it?
It's just nice. to stick it to somebody else. Because normally Sheffield Wednesday are the club that everybody seems to just stick it to us for some reason.
Yep.
And it's just going to be so nice for it to be the shoe to be on the other foot for a change, if that's what happens. But yeah, that's all from me, really. I'm gonna
so thank you for watching and
sleep.
listening to the Talking Wednesday. I hope you have a good rest of your week, and we will see you in the next one.
Goodbye.